The Prophecy Dungeon is one of the best pieces of content Destiny has to offer, and though completing this dungeon solo without dying may seem daunting, I'm here to tell you as an average PvE player at best that you can accomplish this triumph with a little bit of practice, patience, and the right mindset. Everything in this video is a derivative of other guides I've watched. There are top tier guardians on YouTube who have mastered this dungeon, and all their guides have helped tons of players like me reach their goal. There are no hidden nuggets, no cheeses or secrets, but my hopes are to appeal to those currently struggling in their endeavor, but refuse to throw in the towel. And I can tell you with certainty, you can solo this dungeon. So let's dive in. What do I mean by mindset? First, mindset is going to determine how you approach this dungeon. Are you trying certain things and not learning from your mistakes? Are you trying to easily one-phase the first boss when you can just save hours of time learning how to two-phase? And more importantly, are you envisioning the right side of your screen when you see that emblem drop from defeating the Kell? Constantly envisioning yourself at the finish line is going to go a long way to help you mentally. It clearly establishes your goal, and you will find yourself making the correct small adjustments needed in each encounter. Second, each room in this dungeon is designed to make it feel like sheer chaos, from the first Phalanx boss to the Moat's room during the Kell encounter. You might find yourself running around clockwise, counterclockwise, back and forth, hoping you're in the right light, dark light, everything in between. But today is the day you start approaching each fiery mess with a stone cold strategy. Eliminate ads, manage knights. In that order, every single encounter. While this might seem like an obvious concept, it's the strategy you'll start implementing that will start to systemize each room. As you start practicing this system for each room, you'll start to notice yourself progressing further each time. And more importantly, you'll find yourself panicking less and less. And why is that? Because there's only so many things each enemy can do. And guess what? There isn't a large variety of enemies. And finally, while each season can have its own positives and negatives as far as the artifact mods, it is more important to focus on developing your ability to survive. Surviving is what will land you this defeat, not DPS. In fact, my most successful run was at the start of Season of the Splicer before I even had any of the DPS mods. So, let's start with the first room. And remember, eliminate ads, manage knights. For the first room, I used Well of Radiance, which helps make the boss an easy two-phase. For those who are struggling with one phase, let me tell you that it's more important to turn this encounter into a marathon, not a sprint. You'll actually spend less time overall working towards a two-phase rather than one. My weapon of choice for this room was by far Trinity Goal. And if you don't have the Catalyst, I recommend grabbing that first, and it's super easy to do. This weapon absolutely deletes all ads first, giving you plenty of breathing room against the aggressive knights. By the way, I used a Warlock for this dungeon, even though I'm a Titan main, mainly because I just found better survivability. If you think you can't use a Warlock, let me tell you, you absolutely can, because I am garbage using a Warlock. Once you proc Devour in the second and third room though, the weapons basically do the work for you. So why do we kill the ads before anything else? If we looked at this arena from a bird's eye view, the spawn points are as such: 3 knights, groups of ads, and of course the boss in the middle. Highly congested, right? However, in just a few shots with Trinity, eliminating all those ads frees up major space and right away. These ads will not spawn again until you cleanse. The room is yours and you control the pace. Take a look at the footage right at the start of the encounter. I'm waiting for the first Scion. I get that first kill, I proc Lightning Rod, and I let that do the work for me. I only take a few shots to get rid of all those Scions. Sure, there might be a straggler, there might be a couple stragglers, but they're very easy to get rid of right away. And again, the point is to make sure the room is less congested, less chaotic. We are basically repeating this process for all 4 cleanses, meaning as soon as we get those 5 moats in cleanse, a new group of ads will spawn. But we're behind cover, as you can see. Again, getting that first Scion kill, proccing Lightning Rod, and getting rid of all those ads right away. Managing all 3 knights is a hell of a lot easier than running around like an absolute psycho trying to kill all the ads at once. When I'm managing the knights, I'm using a slug shotgun. You can use whichever one you like, but I found that this one I could keep good distance while still dishing out solid damage. And don't get greedy. You can try to get that first shot, and if you find them being too aggro, just run back to cover. This part is just taking your time, because those adds are not going to spawn again until you cleanse. Once you've cleansed the final light, pop your well directly on the boss and spam your sword until he's at least half health. Once you reach half health, although you can continue to melt the boss, it is important to realize that goblins will start to make him immune, and they'll also start firing on you, and you need to make sure you don't die in this situation. Focus on getting rid of those goblins, checking in on how much time you have left in the well, and getting ready for one more round of cleansing. The cube room. Sheer chaos, right? No, not with our system. We are still going to rock the Trinity goal to insta-kill the adds. Switch over to a sniper and have a sword ready for those close encounters with the knights. The DPS for the two bosses at the end of this is the easiest part of the encounter, so we won't worry about using our ammo when we need it in both killing the knights and killing the trash adds. We're going to switch our warlock subclass to Void to utilize Devour. Devour will give you full health when procced on every kill that you get. And since we are killing adds extremely quickly, we're getting health back extremely quickly as well, as you can see from the footage. We can either use Devour as a panic situation, or right before we anticipate killing adds. I like to do a combination of both. When I have control of the room, I don't use it, or when a knight comes up close, I do. The first move is to quickly check where Toland is and which light motes we need to collect. It may sound silly, but say the word dark or light out loud to yourself, because if you're like me, you have the memory of a goldfish. There will be 2 goblins and the sniper damage on the top part, along with a few scion adds on the bottom floor level. Looking at a bird's eye view again, once you drop down in each cube room, locate one of the goblin spawns and head towards that area underneath them. The reason we do this is to minimize the amount of lanes that are dangerous to step into with those snipers. If one is directly above you, you'll only have to worry about one other sniper. Once again, the goal is to delete all adds as quickly as possible, followed by sniping the other sniper. As you can see, the pace slows down as the area clears up. Using your sniper or sword, go ahead and take out those knights. Unlike the first room, the adds are on a timer. However, the lightning rod on the bow will still be procced even if you are using other weapons. Once those add spawns, you'll have no issue instantly removing them from the room. This encounter is going to test your patience a bit, and you'll probably have a few more panic moments than the first encounter as you practice this room, but that's okay, because each room utilizes the same system, and by now you are trusting your Trinity to do the work for you. Panic moments require you to remember our mindset. Stop what you are doing and eliminate the adds. The Kell Echo is the longest marathon in this dungeon. The boss fight is boiled down into 2 different encounters, the Moat's room and the Kell room itself. By now, we have mastered our focus on ad clearing. However, it is time to let the Trinity have its well-deserved rest. We are going to replace our exotic with Witherhoard, while also equipping an Aikilos SMG. Perhaps you're asking why would we replace something that has been so useful in our ads first, nice second strategy. And that is because our mindset will stay the same even with a different loadout. You have practiced up until this point, and we aren't going to change how we control the pace. We are simply fine-tuning the system for this specific part of the prophecy. I'd like to make a couple notes before we get started. I've chosen the Witherhoard because the ad spawns are quite predictable, especially as you start practicing more and more. This is hands down the best spawn trap weapon in the game and works well alongside both Warmind weapon and Devour. A well-placed Witherhoard, while having Devour procced, will grant health over the precious seconds we take in collecting motes and cleansing. Furthermore, Just having the SMG equipped while enemies are dying to Wither Horde will still grant us Warmind cells. I am aware, at the time of this video, Warmind cells took a hit in their potency. However, because the Scions tend to funnel towards you in the Moat Room, I still believe this is a highly effective way to delete multiple enemies instantaneously. Lastly, the heavy weapon I used in this run was Wendigo. During Season of the Splicer, grenade launchers were heavily used in DPS, even though I didn't have Reach and Clear at the time. But I would recommend you use a heavy linear fusion like Threaded Needle at this point in Season of the Lost, along with, of course, the Particle Deconstruction mod. Let's take a look at the Moat Room. As you're aware, there are 3 angles the Kell Echo is firing upon as you try to clear out adds and gather moats. For a long time, and for many attempts, my strategy was to run around the room trying to keep in motion to avoid this fire upon me. To some extent it would work, but for my playstyle in PvE, I would prefer at least having one spot I could rely on to call home base. And let me be clear, this is not a cheese spot, and this is not a spot that is 100% shielded from enemy fire. However, the pillar with the small opening is where I spent majority of my time clearing the moat area, as you can see in the footage. Jumping in and out of this spot, we'll call it home base, was how I would dodge in and out of enemy lanes. It is also a great spot to pop a healing rift should you need it, while still being on the offensive. Remember, you are the chaos in this room, not the Taken. You will notice in the video that each time I finish a DPS phase, my first move is to locate home base and make a beeline towards that spot. And if you get there quick enough, Wither Horde can start spawn killing the Scions. Looking at a bird's eye view one more time, the room layout has multiple angles you need to be aware of. And as we head towards home base, we're using our survivability as well as our special and kinetic weapons to clear up the room and get that first area cleanse. Ideally, we can cleanse the light or dark directly next to us to extend our somewhat safe area of operation. As soon as the ogre is down, you've already taken care of the third of the angle that wasn't safe to stand in before. You can even pop your super right away on that ogre, as you will have plenty of time to get it back before DPS. Again, these spawns are predictable. We don't have to rush through any of this encounter. Once all 3 lights are cleansed, the ogres are already taken care of. Take a quick inventory of your ammo and abilities. Feel free to farm a little bit. If you like to gather more heavy, weigh down the last brick of super, create a modal light, whatever you need to prepare, as there's no more knights or majors that will spawn into the room. The second part of this boss fight is the DPS phase itself, and there's one key strategy that the most helpful guardians have taught me. Stay ahead in the boss room. I promise any mistake that results in dying will be due to you staying back, trying to get as much damage in as you can while ignoring goblins. When you first drop in, it is safe to pop a few Wither Hordes, as well as a clip of heavy, but as soon as those goblins start spawning in, it's time to run ahead and kill those adds. As you can see, you even start to memorize the spawn points and can trap them as soon as they come in, as you make your way to the front of the arena. Doing this will grant you an opportunity to tick away at his damage for a full 2 spots. In other words, as he transports to the front of the room, you will have all of his second to last transport and the final spot he stands on to unleash. Don't worry about the middle areas. That is for you to clear up the goblins and stay ahead of the game. There's not much to the DPS part of this encounter. We're unloading all we got. Furthermore, I'm even waiting until I have my abilities and most of my super back before starting the next moat room. There's no timer. There is only glory that lies ahead. Once again, I'm locating home base and starting the process over, where they're hoarding spawn points, creating those Warmind cells, and using our survivability abilities to stay alive. Our main strategy is to dip in and out of the home base to keep ourselves both in motion, but not panicking. Your blood will be rushing when you know you're in your last phase. Say to yourself out loud, stay ahead of the boss. Don't get greedy. You've made it this far, and your mindset has developed into a sheer Kell Echo killing machine. You've made it to the front of the arena. Goblins melted in your wake. You unleash what you know is the final blow, and you can now claim what is rightfully yours. I wanted to say I appreciate you taking the time to watch this guide. My goal for this video was to focus more on an individual's headspace when it comes to completing this dungeon solo flawless. So much of what we can accomplish can be attributed to what our mind believes we can accomplish. I meant what I said about the importance of envisioning yourself at the finish line, seeing that emblem drop on your screen. You can manifest this to happen. Load into the dungeon and start practicing your systems. Thanks for watching.